few weeks ago, I was talking about how in life and in motherhood, everyone goes through highs and lows and plateaus. So I, like, over the past maybe about 2 weeks ago, a week ago, I was feeling like I was in a bit of a mothering plateau / low. And so I want to tell you, like, I'm feeling like now, like I'm sort of, I feel like I'm now, like I'm pulling out of it, and getting towards a plateau / high, like a good feeling about motherhood. And I want to tell you how I did that. So the first thing that I did is I decided that every day that I woke up feeling like I was in a plateau / low, that I would do 5 things to spoil myself, 5 nice things for myself. And so because I think that a lot of, like, my feeling of being, like, in a plateau / low was that I felt like I was feeling like burnt out, like feeling like I'm always doing for other people, getting the kids out in the morning and then walking them to Gan and then giving them lunch and then cleaning the house and putting them to bed again. And it's like a feeling like I'm always taking care of other people, and it's just this never-ending, cycle of giving and giving and giving and giving, and I'm just like this shmata, like / martyr, who's not getting, and my needs are not getting taken care of in this whole story. So I just wanted to give you an example. If you're wondering, like, what, like, just an example of 5 things that I did one day. So there was one day, for example, that I decided that I was going to buy myself strawberries. This is now in Israel. It's strawberry season, so I went to the shuk. I got myself some strawberries. I love strawberries. At one point during the day, I made myself a hot drink. I actually don't drink so many hot drinks, so that's like sort of something like a very fun thing for myself. I went to pray at a certain. On the other side of the shuk, there's a grave of the previous of 2 previous Ger Rebbes, the Pnei Menachem, I think the Imre Emes, on the other, and so it's one of my favorite places to daven. So I made a special trip there to daven there. I took 10 minutes to read a magazine in the middle of, like, the afternoon with the kids, and it was really nice. The other thing was that I went to buy myself a new hat. Do you see my new hat? Do you like it? So that this was one of my gifts for myself, to pull myself out of my mothering plateau / low, and so I feel like now, like and it really helped. And I want to tell you 2 other stories, 2 other things that happened over, like, the last 2 weeks, that gave me a bit of more perspective and helped to pull me out of my plateau / low. So this past Friday, I went to my son Yoel is now 6, and he had his Misibat Chumash. He had his Torah party, which is when the boys get their first copy of the book of Genesis, of Bereshit, and it's really, really exciting. And so at Yoel's Misibat Chumash, the rabbi, they always have an important rabbi who comes and gives out the Chumashim, and so the rabbi there, he's the chief rabbi of all of Israel, Harav David Lau, who's newly elected, and I was getting very emotional seeing him. This is a total tangent, but I was getting all teary-eyed and emotional because I was thinking of his grandfather. So his grandfather, Harav Yisrael Meir Lau, who's very, very famous, well-respected, highly respected rabbi in Israel and around the world. So he was actually the youngest survivor of Buchenwald. And so Harav Lau, and it's quite extraordinary just to think of, like, all the millions of Jews, Hashem Yikom Damam, that the Nazis, Yamach Shemam, murdered. And so they're working so hard to kill all of them, and then, and like the one that got away, Harav Lau, like one of the few survivors of Buchenwald, and then he goes on to learn Torah and to become such an incredible human being, to become the chief rabbi of the land of Israel, the state of Israel, and beyond, and even beyond that, then he creates such an amazing family of people who love Torah and grow in Torah, and such distinguished people, that then again his own grandson is now again the chief rabbi of the state of Israel, Harav David Lau. And just like seeing him, he's a tremendous Talmid Chacham, and from everything that I hear around, he's also a real mensch, and I could see he's a real mensch. And just thinking, what the Nazis were trying so hard to kill all of us, and then like the one that got away, it just reminds me of the power of a single Jew. The power of a single Jew who learns studies Torah and loves Torah and, follows the Torah's ways, that the kind of amazing, incredible family that he can create, that then not only he himself but also his grandson is such a light unto the Jewish people and the world. So side point over, but at this Mesibat Chomash, so there's an older mother. She's the oldest mother, let's say, among the mothers in the class of boys in the class. She's in her late 40s. And so, and she also happens to be married to also quite a famous rabbi. She herself is like quite a well-known rebbitzin. So I was, and so when I saw her like coming into the party, I said to her, I had heard from her once that this is her youngest child. She has 8 children, and so this is her youngest. And so I said to her, I said, oh, this is one of your last Chumash parties. She said, yes, this is my final Mesibat Chumash. This is the last Mesibat Chumash. So afterwards, I went up to her after the party. It was like this whole 2.5 hour long thing. Afterwards, I said, so how was it? Celebrating the Chumash party for your youngest son. And I looked at her and I saw like that tears were in her eyes. And she said, "Ze kashe me'od, kashe me'od. It's very, very, very difficult." And she said, "But you know what?" She said, "But all good things have to come to an end. That's the way it is. All good things come to an end in the end." And it really shook me up. It shook me up. Because I was thinking, when my son, when my Yaakov when Yaakov is getting his chumash, then I'm going to be around her age, give or take a year. And I was just thinking of how important it is to, these are difficult years. These are going to be challenging years. I have I still have like a bunch of young kids at home. I have a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a bunch above that. But it's like, this is a challenging time, like dealing with like little kids and all their needs and all of that. And I have like a little girl, the 3-year-old home today. I had to spend the whole morning with her. And it's like, it's not so easy. But remembering, like listening to her just made me remember, like how much to cherish these years, like how special this is, what a special time this is, being with young children, and I guess through her teary eyes, it reminded me of that, of how sweet this time is as well. And the final thing I want to say, so the third thing that I think that helped me to pull out of my my plateau / low, was a very sweet comment that I got this week on an article. I wrote an article this week that you should read called "The Cornflake Conniption." I put it on Facebook last week, and like a lot of people have been reading it, and it's very sweet. And it's about my daughter, my 3-year-old Sophia, who's here now, and she and how she gave me a hard time about eating her cornflakes and what happened. It's sort of like a funny, cute story, So I got a very nice letter, and the author, she wrote, I think the problem with many of the stories of moms and children is that moms lose sight of the fact that their children will someday be mature, grow out of this childish behavior, and be a pleasure to have around. I remember one of my sons would do the very same thing with me and food, was a picky eater. What helped me most was seeing this sweet boy who was really annoying and realizing that before long he would grow up and outgrow this whining. It was nothing I said or did, but something I kept in the forefront of my encounters with him. That is, I saw the boy and the man he would become. This helped me speak with much more calm. He is now 50 years old, 6 feet 4 inches, and a lawyer. And he eats everything. He stopped whining ages ago. Isn't that nice? So I find myself also doing this. Like, I've been looking at my son, Yoel, is 6 years old, and, Yaakov is 1. And sometimes I see, like, these older men, like, I'll see, like, a soldier or somebody, I'll see, like, a soldier, like, in his uniform and, like, being, like, who's, like, 6 feet tall. I think Yoel's a tall boy. I think he's going to be tall. I think he's going to be probably reach around 6 feet. And I see them and I think like, wow, like Yoel, he's gonna grow up. He's gonna be, now he's so little and so needy and so whatever. Like he's gonna grow up and be like a man. And my daughters too, like they're gonna grow up and they're gonna be like women, this time is this period of being with like little kids, and like when they're so needy, and it's a hard time it's a harder period for us. It's fleeting, it really is. So I want to bless all of you Jewish moms. And any of you who are now feeling like you're in a plateau/low, I would encourage you a few things. One is that to remember to make like a spoiling list for yourself. 5 ways in which you're going to spoil yourself today. You don't have to go and buy a beautiful new hat like I did. You can just it can be something like even as simple as sitting down to read, going on a short walk, taking 5 minutes in the afternoon to call a friend. Anything that for you like feels like something that's like a nice sort of secret pleasure for yourself. And the next idea is just to remember like how this is fleeting. If you look at like these 2 stories I told about, these older mothers looking back, just remembering the sweetness, like this time. It's a fleeting time, that there's a famous author that I posted something about her, posted this beautiful video that she made on the web on JewishMom.com. Her name is Gertrude Rubin, but she said something so beautiful. She said the days are long and the years are short. The days feel so long, like when are they going to go to bed? And when they're going to go to bed, and when they go to bed. But then the years fly by. And I see that with myself. I can't believe my oldest daughter, just this past week, she had her 16th birthday. I can't believe it. It's amazing. So I want to bless all of you Jewish moms, and if you are in, plateaus/lows, I bless you that very, very soon you should be in a plateau/high or high. And so I want to bless all of you Jewish moms with an amazing, amazing week.